Boom! What's up, Familia? Dayspring here to react to today's Hasbro live stream that just happened a few minutes ago. Familia, we are living in a golden age of Marvel Legends. I am telling you, I have been collecting this wave since 2002 when I was a senior in high school. I had my frosted tips, a Blink 182 license plate, and I went to Toys R Us after school one day and I was going through the toy aisles and I saw that Marvel Legends toad from Wave 1. And again, I could not have fathomed where this line would be over 20 years later, where this line would be. And it's just, I don't know. I'm so proud to be a collector when we get reveals and lines like we did today. So why don't we dive into it? A lot of the stuff we had reported on the back end, and I just want to be very clear that when we talk about a rumored list, we always say take things with a grain of salt because things can always change on the production end. However, we only report on the rumored Marvel Legends that have strong legs behind it. So ones that come directly from sources we know and sources we trust, because, a couple people message us lists and we're like, well, this is just like out of the blue. This doesn't make any sense. However, we have trusted sources that send us lists and you start seeing consistencies with them, and you start talking, and that's how you sort of form together what is very viable coming down the pipelines. And one of the best things about being a Marvel Legends collector, and this has been the thing since day one, that we all like speculating. We all love rumors, we all love wish lists, and we all love speculating. And the Marvel Legends community has grown so much. I cannot believe since the pandemic how much it's grown. So let's dive into today's live stream. I do want to say, Ryan Ting not being there, his presence, his lack of presence is very felt. Ryan Ting just had this very grounded middle sibling energy. I'm a middle sibling, so I get it. You have your older sibling and your younger sibling, and then you have your grounding middle sibling. And I felt that's what Ryan Ting brought to this wonderful trio. I love Dan. I love Dwight. Both of them are fantastic. They handled this live stream so well. But because we know that it was a trio before, seeing this live stream without Ryan, it just, you feel it. And again, Dwight and Dan did such a tremendous job with this live stream. If you were new to Marvel Legends community, you wouldn't even think that something was missing because they have such infectious chemistry. But for those of us who have been following this line for such a long time, Ryan Ting's presence is very missed. So shout out to Ryan Ting. He was one of our first interviews back in 2020. I was like 2005 now. It's 2020. God, what is time? I can't believe it's been 5 years since we started Power of X-Men. But I just want to say his presence is missed. Okay, so there was some housekeeping and reveals, and just to go through the housekeeping really quickly, we're getting the Daredevil mask with a baton, which is part of their, Marvel Legends universe props initiatives. It looks good. I have the Magneto helmet, and I'll tell you, I am a little disappointed with the Magneto helmet. Magneto helmet doesn't really do anything for me. So I'm probably not going to get this or the Wolverine mask, but even when this was revealed, I was like, dang, this is like pretty cool. I love this so much. I mean, if you're a Daredevil fan, I mean, go pick this up. I mean, the batons snap together and you have the mask. Oh, the chef's kisses on this. It looks good. But again, it's not really my cup of tea. They did say that more was coming down the line. Let's see, what do they have here? They have the Spider-Man mask, they have the Magneto helmet, they have the Wolverine mask, they have the Captain America shield, and the Doctor Doom. So, if you're gonna get it, I would love to hear it. I mean, send your DMs to Power of X-Men on Instagram. This is one thing I should continue shouting out. We are on Instagram predominantly. We're predominantly a podcast platform and an Instagram platform. So if you want to get in touch with us, always send DMs to our Power of X-Men YouTube. We do for fun. This is me just nerding out on a Tuesday afternoon because I don't have meetings till later in the day, and I do nightlife gigs. So that's I have my days typically free unless I'm meeting with clients. So this is all pure us being neurotic fans. And look at Dwight. I love that I just paused at Dwight and Dan in these poses. This is amazing. They again, I love Dwight and Dan. We've seen Dwight and Dan at multiple cons. Dwight is a very, really kind guy. We first officially met him at San Diego Comic-Con when they revealed the Rocket Raccoon wave and Jean Grey was there. And me and my husband lost our shit when we saw Rocket Raccoon Jean, the prototype there. I say the prototype because the prototype is very different than the final Rocket Raccoon Jean we got. Okay, so they also talked about Mystique and Outback Era Storm. They're going to be available only at Target on September 19th, 2025. Normally, I would be complaining so much right now, being like, ah, why a Target exclusive? But the X Factor gene, so much of her is already at the Jersey City Targets. It's a high traffic, big national store for Target, right? Taylor Swift went there to promote something years ago. So that store, I'm saying that because that store has pegs and pegs of X Factor Gene on sale. I'm not going to complain that Storm and Mystique are going to be there. In fact, let me break down some of these thoughts I'm having really quickly. Storm, this Storm right here, the last time we got a Target exclusive Storm, and she was in the white costume. She was a peg warmer there, as well as a Storm with a Thunderbird accessory. And again, I'm emphasizing this is the Jersey City Target's big Target in the New York State Tri area or the New York City Tri area. So the fact that it's a big store in New Jersey and Target. So the fact that those were just peg warmers, I see collectors there all the time. The fact that those are peg warmers, I'm not going to be disappointed if I can't get the pre-order on September 19th. Maybe I can start loosening my anger with these pre-order exclusives. I still haven't seen Thanos or Psylocke. I'm sorry, Psylocke with the Thanos accessory there. But let's wait and see. Warbird, for example. So, these characters that are a little bit more mainstream, like a Mystique or a Storm, perhaps, and Jean, perhaps those are, the peg warmers. And that's why when you got Psylocke and Warbird, those are the ones that all of us want. But they're going to be available September 19th. I'm picking this up. I love this Outback Era Storm. It's also a reminder of the very first Storm figure we got with the light up chest. So this for me is a slam dunk. We now officially, I believe, have her. No, I think we need her in silver. So we'll need her in the silver costume. But, back in the day, Toy Biz gave us 3 versions of the Storm figure in the white costume, in the silver costume, and the black costume. So we just need the silver one here, and I think we'll be complete. And Storm's an evergreen character. But this is a wonderful opportunity because even though, and this is something I learned discussing right here on YouTube, when you say something like, oh, well, we already kind of got in the Storm figure and she was a peg warmer, people who weren't collectors, even just a couple years ago, didn't have the opportunity to get her. So I love that we have this opportunity to get the Storm. It goes to completing the Outback Era. We just need Betsy in her pink armor and a shirtless Colossus, of course, a shirtless Colossus. Cannot forget the shirtless Colossus. Mystique's a really interesting choice. I think the Walgreens exclusive Mystique with the gold gun was always my favorite with the Lalandra head. I have her right here. Let me go get her, actually. I love the ombre with the hair. I mean, this to me is a definitive Mystique. I believe it looks like the same one. I'm sure there are differences that I'm just not spotting right here. I am disappointed that they're giving us the Black Queen Jean head. I wish they, because that could have easily been repainted, by the way. That easily could have been repainted as a Destiny head, right? Especially in the early 1900s Destiny or 1800s, whenever she's supposed to be alive. And you could have made that a Destiny, alternate Destiny head for the Destiny figure we have. So, it reads kind of like we had extra gene heads at the factory energy. So that's how I feel about that. But I'm picking both. Well, I don't think I'll be picking up Mystique. Definitely picking up Storm. No question about Storm. But again, this is a pretty flawless Mystique as far as I'm concerned. And it was a Walgreens exclusive. Oh, I just noticed her back has kind of yellowed. Well, now I'm definitely picking up this. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to pick that up. And the Hasbro gods are like, hold my beer. Oh, I think it's kind of yellowed because look, probably when I was transporting her, because she has been from New York to Miami, back to New York, Hoboken. Um, when she's probably being transferred, I don't know if you can see this, but her belt kind of slides up, and I think it's stained, like it's kind of like staining her back part. Live, you watch that happen live. Okay, anyways, they're going to be available September 19th. There we go. All right. So next up was the Mysterio Walmart exclusive. And Mysterio is such a fan favorite Spider-Man villain that even I, who I stick to my lane, and it's specifically mostly X-Men. I mean, of course, I love Spider-Man, animated Spider-Man, or larger Marvel universe, or Marvel versus Capcom. But even this has me extremely excited. He gets an alternate head, two alternate heads in addition to the dome. I mean, look at that. And the spell casting power effects. Oh, just the way Dwight, I believe it was Dwight who said it. Either Dwight or Dan said it, but like the spell casting hands. Wow. Oh, they're so kinetic. They're toy kinetic. Toynetic, whatever the word was used, is used and was called out on today's stream. But my goodness, it looks so good. Great figure. Only at Walmart, 10/10, October 10th. So go for a pre-order. I like these. Like I think one of the things they did really well, or Hasbro does really well, is timing these figures in terms of season. Halloween is such a big celebration here in the US. People go all out. So when we got the wave last year with like Bloodstorm and Blackheart, Build a Figure, I think it just lends itself, and Damien, it just lends itself to like, ooh, spooky season. Let me pick this up. So I love that they have villains, right? So like Mystique and Mysterio, coming in October, pre-order them. I think that's a lot of fun. I truly do think that's a lot of fun. And you know, I guess they don't really ship, right? The pre-order for Mystique is September 19th and Mysterio is 10/10. So I don't think we'll actually get it in time for Halloween, but the sentiment is there. Halloween somehow, right? Because I think the Strange Tales wave we got during Halloween, like I distinctly remember it being fall when Bloodstorm came in. So that's a lot of fun. That truly is a lot of fun. I enjoy that quite a bit. Okay, so Super Skrull was announced, and Super Skrull is going to be at New York Comic Con and other fall conventions like MCM in London. Looks good. My big question with this was where's Invisible Woman's power effect, right? Like it's kind of missing here, and I get it. How do you render the invisibility in a way that would make sense? But it's just kind of like he's supposed to be emblematic of all the Fantastic Four's power. I would have thrown in an extra translucent hand somehow in lieu of probably an alternate head. I'm sure this boils down to a production budgeting situation, or I would have just given a generic like force field, like white force field, just as a nudge to it. I'm sure it was considered. I'm sure they went through it, and this was what made most sense for the figure. But yeah, there's Super Skrull for those who want it. I say I'm not going to pick it up, and then I'm at the con. We will be at New York Comic Con, and I'm always like, I need this figure more than anything. I need it. So let's see. Let's see where we sort of land on it in person. But it looks great. And for those of us who are Fantastic Four fans, And those who really want to complete their Fantastic Four collections, I mean, I think Super Skrull is a no-brainer. Okay, now I forgot, completely forgot, like in my head, drag, drop, and delete that they announce Champion of the Universe and Star Fox, a two-pack at San Diego Comic-Con, to the point, and this is where sometimes, the angry fanboy comes out when Dwight was like, "Oh, we revealed this at San Diego." I'm like, "No, you didn't." And I went back to James. Yes, you did. Think first, react later is sort of going to be our motto. Something I should have learned after like 3 decades of being a fanboy, but they look great. I'm definitely picking this up. I mean, the colors alone pop. I do like Star Fox quite a bit. Harry Styles playing him in the Marvel universe or the MCU. I would have been excited to have seen. I know that's kind of like contentious. I'm curious what you guys all think. I hope he appears in Secret Wars or Doomsday. He's a character. I know a lot of people have an opinion on Star Fox. He's just a character that exists. I think it's fun. He's campy on the page. I know there's levity in his story that we don't need to get into, but I'd be excited to see him, on my shelf. I'm definitely, this is one of the ones I'm looking at, like my Maximum Hulk, for example. I don't have him displayed. I have him in his package. This is what I would do with these figures. I'm just going to keep them in their package. I love Cosmic Marvel. I love it when they're bright and colorful figures, and the rendering is superb. So I'm very happy with this two-pack, and I'm definitely going to be picking it up. I mean, as you can see, in some angles, I was like, oh, it kind of looks arcade, like arcade. Champion looks amazing. I mean, look, the blues and the gold belt, the way it just pops. It's a great, great two-pack here. Let's pull up when they are coming. They're going to be a fan channel plus Amazon exclusive on October 2nd at 1 p.m. Eastern. So I'll definitely be tuning in. All of these pre-order dates as they go up, it's so hard to remember. I can barely remember my own like work schedule. I was having dinner with my boss the other night, and my boss slash agent, and we were going over my fall schedule, and I'm like, I don't, you tell me. And he's like, well, you have the dates, and I'm like, gosh, I don't remember anything. I just sort of wake up and react to things. So now that I have to add in pre-order dates, I'm like, oh, my mind, my calendar's like just a dumping pot. Okay. So we're getting into the next Marvel mini comic wave. And this kind of leaked a couple days ago or last week. And it was via that Walmart has its metadata has sort of populated on the app and the website that we were going to get 6 figures for a mini comic book wave 2, but the names weren't there. Now, we had previously reported that Rachel and Farrell were going to be part of the mini comic book wave, and that we were going to be getting another Beast figure, which was going to be Astonishing Beast, as well as, Black Widow coming down the line. And that's exactly what happened here. We didn't know all these figures were going to be part of a mini comic book wave too. Now, I like the mini comic book wave quite a bit. We know this is going to be shipping in September, or excuse me, the pre-orders for September, and we are getting these figures shipping in December. So September 10th is when these figures are coming, and they're going to be shipping December of this year. That's great. I love this quick turnaround with Marvel Legends. I have to tell you, my biggest disappointment with Farrell, and she looks great here. She looks great here. But you know what we're gonna say. Technically, her costume is hot pink. It's such a what's the word I'm looking for when I'm saying that? It's such a like huge nitpick. But I'm just putting it out there. It should be a hot pink, not purple costume. It is a little disappointing in that. However, what's not disappointing is how the figure looks. Now, the prototype digital rendering they showed at New York Comic Con, again, you have to wait to see these figures in person. And I think I did say that in my reaction to it. Like, let's just wait till we see the actual figure in person because right here, this figure looks great. Again, absent of the hot pink, but I love how she looks. She looks like a Rob Liefeld panel popping out. In fact, that is what this pose is trying to homage. I wish we were getting these stands though. And I'm sure we can get these stands on Amazon for cheaply done. But I'm a brand whore. If it was like Marvel Legends stand, I would like, whoa, and they overcharge me for it. I mean, I'm that hopeless of a consumer. But I really I like her. I think she looks really good. She comes with an aggressive portrait, fists and claw hands, pinless on the arms and legs, which come on. And there was a lot of question if this completes X-Force. It does. It technically does complete X-Force. I mean, we do have Sunspot already, so X-Force is really technically done with this. There are other iterations and different members that join later down. We could also argue that we would want Domino, not Copycat. So, to each their own on how we define X-Force being done, but for all intents and purposes, we got the hardcore, high octane X-Force team in some way, shape, or form from X-Force One. So I'm happy with her. Again, if she was hot pink, I would be like slam dunk, slam dunk. The purple reads from, other iterations and the X-Men animated series, but like that X-Force One panels, hot pink is what I would have wanted. Posable tail, great. That was something that we have talked about with the team in the past, that it was a question of how do they execute the tail. And again, they're kind of like being like, oh, we're finally completing X-Force. Oh, we're finally completing Excalibur. I just, because we want them and because those teams are outstanding, doesn't mean that they can do those figures so quickly. Does that make sense? Sometimes the technology needs to catch up with the with our wants. I wouldn't have wanted a half-baked feral with a tail that wasn't good. Similarly, let's get into Rachel. I would have wanted a Rachel that didn't look like this. I mean, this is, like we talked about this with Husk. Like Husk is the best that a character that is an A-list is going to get. I forgot what I don't know if I said a D-list or C-list X-Men. I don't want to be rude when I say that about Husk, and I certainly don't want to be rude when I say this about Rachel, but the fact of the matter is Rachel is not an A-list X-Men. She's not a Storm. She's not a Wolverine kind of idea here. She is more B-list, and the fact that we're getting her like this is in Marvel Legends is truly the best what the line has to offer, and especially for a B-list character. So again, a couple years ago, maybe doing these translucent snap-on Phoenix effects wouldn't have worked, and so we had to wait a couple years for it. That's me just talking about it. I know other people we can sort of nitpick and be like, well, they could have done it this way a couple years ago, blah blah blah, and that's fine, and I agree to that. But I think this figure looks so good, and she looks great. And I know there's a lot of rumors with pricing right now out there. I think anywhere between the $24 to $30 in today's unfair, highly inflated market, I think that's pricing that I would expect for a figure like this, and I love it. And I would love to know what your thoughts are on all of this. Please leave them on the comments below about pricing, about what we're getting. I always want this to be a two-way conversation, especially on YouTube. It's sort of hard. You let me know what you think, but I think Rachel looks great here. I mean, I can't believe we're living in a world with this figure. I mean, she even has her rat tail. We called it a rat tail back in the day. And I used to have one, not as long, but like you would let like the back part of your hair grow down and it would just be the tail. I'm trying to pull it up here. I am curious as to yeah, look, there's that rat tail. The X-Men have great hair, especially for the era. Great hair. I mean, Fabian Cortez, Rachel. Oh gosh, long shot. These are X-Men with like great hair. Um, you know, I'm curious what you all think about these mini comic book wave, I guess, in absent of a Build-A-Figure, because it's not financially feasible to do a Build-A-Figure anymore, I suppose. I'm curious what you all think about the mini comic book wave. We had or the mini comic books that come with this wave. We had reported like a year and a half, 2 years ago that these little mini comic books were coming. However, they were going to have a QR code on them that you can scan and it would take you to a digital copy of the issue that, it's being rendered in the plastic. That obviously did not happen, but I also think to myself that's probably what they had intended to do, and somehow it didn't work out on the other end. Like, oh, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of collaboration, a lot of coordinating. So, maybe printing a QR code would have cost more. I don't know. But without the QR code and taking it to a digital issue, these like mini comic books really don't do much for me. We were supposed to get a spinner rack. That was something that we had reported on about a year and a half ago. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't followed up. I'm not exactly going back and like following up on like a spinner rack with some of my sources, but I don't know what these mini comic books, what utility they have. Do you guys let me know? Do you guys collect these? Do you like them? I could care less, to be completely honest with you. I want Rachel, and I want her. I would have taken instead of a mini comic book, I would have taken another Rachel head flamed on as on the Excalibur issue. So I am curious why we didn't get that. I mean, listen, I want this head. Regular head. Eyes, flaring head, and then I would have done the flame effect head. That's how I would have done Rachel. It's, it's neither here nor there because this is, I mean, look at that. As a perfect Rachel, as a perfect Rachel Summers. Don't forget, we got a Rachel in the early days of Marvel Legends when Hasbro took over, and it was the end of Gray's Rachel. And she got three variants for that. I mean, technically two, but one was packed differently. So we're going to say three. But it was like just regular Rachel. And then it was powered up cosmic Rachel with the Phoenix tattoo. And then the third was the Rachel figure with the Phoenix tattoo you know, facing the person buying it. And in lieu of just a standard, just her front facing packaging. It was actually her back, towards plastic. So plastic window. So I think this looks great. This is like a Rachel that we've all I mean, look at those Phoenix effects. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Again, they're home run. We've come such a long way since 2002. Very happy with this figure. This is to me, I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. Could not be more happy with this Rachel. Silver Surfer, I'll be honest with you, Familia, could care less. Happy that we're getting another Silver Surfer. I got him with Galactus. I remember the Walgreens exclusive. They've updated the technology here. This is fantastic. We just had the Fantastic Four movie. This is fantastic. We just had the Fantastic Four movie. So there's obviously a lot of interest in those characters. And Norrin Rad Silver Surfer is one that everyone's always going to want, always going to be evergreen. But I already have my Silver Surfer figures. I have so many Silver Surfer figures that I don't need to revisit the character again anytime soon. But I appreciate the update, and it's a great entry point for people who have missed out. Especially, I mean, a Walgreens exclusive from years ago, and then a Galactus, HasLab Galactus. One of the tiers were unlocked to get Silver Surfer. I mean, that was such a high price point that it was not an entry point for people to get the figure. So I'm glad this figure is out there for those who need it. And I appreciate, by the way, one of the benefits of not having a build-a-figure is that I don't feel forced to buy characters that I've already gotten. And so that's like a little bit of a pro. I mean, higher price point, perhaps, but you're not spending money on other characters. I love this Black Widow. Love her. I got her the Walgreens exclusive. I loved her so much. My husband got her as a gift for me. Funny enough, and ironically enough, we took the head of this Black Widow that was originally a Walmart exclusive. We took that head and put it on the retro card Dark Phoenix body, and we're like, boom, we have Rachel now. Rachel in later when she's wearing the red Phoenix costume. But great figure. I'm so happy she's back out there again. She was also on the rumored list. People were talking about her. I'm so glad that everyone has an opportunity to get this figure. She is a great, great looking figure. They've updated the technology quite a bit with this figure. So higher posability. She is great. I mean, guys, I would tell you this Black Widow figure, go buy her. Buy her. She is so good. So good. I love her. Love her very much. Um, unless the one I have already is well, actually, I think I'm gonna have to get her because she's currently being used as a Rachel. I always say when we do these swappable heads with other characters on another character's body so we can get something, right? Like I believe we used back in the day Shauna, the She-Devil's head on the Astonishing Emma body, like the original Astonishing Emma body, or even Sue Storm, the Sue Storm with the four on the chest, right? That we got from Hasbro way back in the day. I would always be like, that's Sue Storm posing as Emma Frost. Similarly, when I see that figure, I'm like, that's Black Widow posing as Rachel Summers. Daredevil looks great. Right out of Romita Jr. and Frank Miller, Daredevil Men Without Fear run. I believe that's run. He looks great. I'm definitely picking him up. I wish it was better packaging. I wish it was better packaging. Kind of generic packaging for such an awesome figure, right? Oh, I mean, looks great. I'm trying to zoom in on. Yeah, looks great. Right? Where's they recreated a panel there. Where is it? Right there. No. God, I hate scrolling through this. Anyways, he looks great. I'll hit play. I can hit play. It's on mute. Yeah, look, that's the panel I was talking about. It looks great in like the blonde hair coming out from the back. Perfect attention to detail. Again, I'm not angry that it's taken a while to get certain iterations or certain characters because the technology wasn't there to execute back in the day. So again, I cannot picture a world without this Daredevil, with his hair not popping out like that. I'm so incredibly happy. And it's a little detail that we're able to get away with in today's world. So again, I'm curious what you guys think. Yeah, right there. Look at that. Looks so good. Again, attention to detail. So great. Now I want to revisit Man Without Fear. I haven't read it in a couple years, so I want to revisit. All right, and of course, the final one, my favorite character ever, the sociopathic, awful human being or mutant known as Beast, the real villain of the X-Men franchise. I'm a kid. For those of you who are new to Power of X-Men, we jokingly say Beast is the worst. I mean, there's some evidence in the comic books that we could talk about, but regardless, happy to see Astonishing Beast. Happy to see Astonishing Beast. We had reported that Astonishing Beast was coming down the pipeline. We did not know he was going to be part of the mini comic book Wave 2. Again, when the leaks were happening a couple days ago, that's when the information sort of came to fruition that he was going to be part of that wave. Listen, Beast during the Astonishing era was sort of a hallmark. It was kind of a continuation of the Beast that we were seeing in New X-Men, which he was second guessing his appearance. Now, this, of course, he was already previously rendered in the Nemesis wave from Hasbro way back in the day. I mean, that figure is so awful, and it's really small and compact. I'm so glad this figure exists. They are rounding out the Astonishing team. So we already got Scott, Emma, Wolverine, now Beast. And of course, they were being cagey. They're like, oh, who else is missing here? Well, I'll tell you who else is missing. Obviously, Colossus and obviously Kitty Pryde. Those are two of the that's your core astonishing X-Men, Whedon era, John Cassaday, Whedon era team. It's those five that you need for like the proper team. Other characters you could do Armor, who's introduced in that run and would go on to be part of the team after the Whedon era is done, but they continue Astonishing. Armor and Storm come and they be a part of the Astonishing X-Men. And of course, the major one, the major villain of that era is Danger. And we have already gotten a Danger. She holds up just fine for me. We did like a gray wash on that figure back in the day. But Hasbro of today would be like, hold my beer, we're going to give you a far better figure. So I I would surmise those are the next four characters if they elect to continue the Whedon Castay era. The storm that would come in. I always say it's Mark Waid or Warren Ellis. I always get Mark Waid and Warren Ellis confused in my head in their runs. But the second, iteration of the Astonishing team, which is Warren Ellis, would be would be Storm. And again, I think Armor would be a character all of us want. Like I really want Armor, especially with like the snap-on effects. But Beast looks good, articulated toes, two heads. I mean, come on. This is a dream come true. I will say, I think Hank, it translates so well. I get toy netic. I mean, look at that. Come on. Ah, that is a gorgeous. I mean, if we're going to get Astonishing Beast, that's the Astonishing Beast you want to get. That is the Astonishing Beast you want to get. I should have done full portrait this entire time for YouTube. Too late now. Okay. There you go. I mean, look at this wave. This is an awesome wave. I there's something for everyone here, right? There's something for everyone. You got Daredevil, you got Beast, you got Black Widow, you got Feral, and you have Rachel, and of course Silver Surfer. Sorry, I was like, wait, I'm missing one. There's supposed to be six. Amazing, amazing. So excited. I'm curious who the peg warmer is going to be, because Banshee's a peg warmer at the Jersey City Target. And in Miami. Wait, no, where was oh no, I was in Pittsburgh and I saw plenty of Banshees at the Target in Pittsburgh that I went to. So I wonder who my money is going to be on Silver Surfer being the peg warmer, because I can't imagine Rachel or Feral or Beast or Daredevil being peg warmers. Maybe Black Widow, but again, it's such an awesome Black Widow. It's such an awesome Black Widow. Why would it be a peg warmer? Don't let it be a peg warmer. All right. Major retailers. I know that was something that people were talking about before when we revealed that the metadata had come through Walmart, and was like, it's a Walmart exclusive. It's not. It's just Walmart was the account that the Onyx data or metadata, whatever you want to call it, fed earlier to the website. I love that they do the individual logos, by the way, for them. You know, you got Excalibur, X-Force, and the Astonishing Daredevil. It's wonderful. I love that. I do wish it was better packaging. There's something about the packaging I don't like. You let me know what you think about the packaging. Okay, so I am very surprised at the Secret Wars Iceman figure. I can't remember if we've reported on him before. I can't remember. I think we may have speculated that we were going to get a 80s era Iceman just because you want to complete X Factor, and I know we got the retro card before. You know, one of the things that I love about this, the medallion with the hologram that goes from Bobby to Iceman, you know, part of me is like, I wish you hadn't done that, because now I'm reminded that we don't have a depowered Bobby Drake figure. But I get it, you know, when you go to your accounts and you pitch them an Iceman figure, you want an Iceman that's powered up, but really do want a Bobby Drake. And we got Bobby Drake decades ago, years ago. Back in my day, we got a Bobby Drake. And the head's kind of weird on that one, but I like it. I'm fine with it. But that is a figure that can be objectively improved. You know, Hasbro won't be able to knock it out, and it's so much on the secondary market. It's not an entry point for newer collectors, so we definitely need Bobby Drake. But okay, I'm going to give it. I'm on the fence about this one. I truly am on the fence about this one, because I love the power effects, and I love the more icy, translucent plastic they're using here. But you know where I'm going to go with this, if you know me. I don't like the bald head for Iceman, especially because in the back of this packaging, they're showing us that it's more, Bobby's head is more cube. And that's, you know, right there. You know, he has more of a cube head, not a bald head. And again, I know that's such a, like right there, it's square, it's a cube. It's the difference between looking like Silver Surfer and Bobby Drake. And that's sort of what I get off of this figure. Again, I know that's me being nitpicky, and I apologize. That's why I kind of like the Mafex figure that's coming down the line with the squared head. It makes me very happy to see that, and especially like with the Willow's Peak. Again, I know that is such a minute detail, and it's not something that everyone loves, but it's something that I wish, if we're gonna get an alternate head, do the square head. It looks kind of cubey here, but then other angles it doesn't. You tell me. You tell me your feels on it. Drop them in the comments below. But what a nice surprise. I believe they said this was, here we go. It's fan channel on Amazon on October 7th, including Pulse, which is nice because we pay for that membership. I'm picking him up. I mean, the power effects alone, they're nailing the power effects. Okay, we have been reporting of all the things we've reported on like a rumored list has been a Deathbird and a Gladiator two-pack. Get so many DMs about it, so many questions about it. And, there was kind of a question mark. Is it going to be, based off of the Jim Lee Uncanny X-Men 275 era? Or is it maybe they're going to lean into X-Men 97-ish, which I was like, oh, that kind of disappoint me. Happy to say we finally got it. And it's Uncanny X-Men 275 era Jim Lee. I'm surprised they didn't call that out on this live stream. I mean, because they've been doing this for such a long time, the Uncanny X-Men 275 celebration, that they themselves probably forgot that that was probably part of the initiative. But yeah, let's break this down really quickly. Gladiator, two heads, updated technology. I'm happy with that. I'm really am happy with that. We've had multiple gladiators throughout the eras. We got him obviously part of the Apocalypse Wave. We got him as San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Very happy to have Gladiator out there with a updated power effect and obviously his more regal, head. We're all for it. I am thrilled, but let's be real. This is a Deathbird with Gladiator accessory box set. Now, hang on. I know that they were talking about how they wanted to make sure they got a costume design of her that didn't have the tube sort of coming out from her midsection. And I appreciate that because that does limit posability. I wish that it would have been more chrome pink parts for the armored parts. That is okay. The head is flaw. I mean, that's Jim Lee. That's a Jim Lee head right there. That's a Jim Lee head. Had I ever seen one? And what really makes it for me is her cape. Her cape, my goodness, that is what we call a home run. I can't believe that the cape it's shiny, plastic, quilted, feathery. She looks maniacal. I mean, look at the nail polish on her, the tubes coming in from her arms. I mean, that is gorgeous. That is regal. That is befit. Look at how her hair parts in the back. That is befitting of a Deathbird. Befitting of a Deathbird familia. Oh, she looks so good. I think though, in lieu of an alternate gladiator head, which again I appreciate that head quite a bit, I would have wanted another Deathbird head. I think Deathbird should have gotten the alternate head in this. I mean, I get it. Like the more regal one and they're coming September 18th. It's fan channel on Amazon. So let's make sure we get that. I get it. Like why they would do the powered up laser eyes gladiator in lieu of just like the stoic one, because, Deathbird organically is just already so kinetic. And what kind of other Deathbird head do you do when you already have her smiling maniacally? I don't know, but I would have wanted. I would have given the extra accessory to Deathbird. However, you would have done that. But yeah, she looks great. I'm glad that we finally are able to see them reveal her. Similarly, and we'll just go through this really quickly because I know we're going long here. The Punisher and Nick Fury, based off of the Capcom video game. Again, that was something that we had talked about. Already. We had reported on that coming down the pipeline. Looks great. I played that video game again recently because it was part of the bundle that they released for the Marvel versus Capcom Fighting Collection. I played it a couple months ago. I got some Chinese food and just played through it. It's like it's a quick game. I loved it. I'm picking it up. It looks great. This is more what I want out there. And we were talking about this. Some other person was talking to their community. I'm forgetting who it was. So I don't want to like properly not give the right source here. But the reason why we're seeing such a push for Gamerverse is that the MCU stuff has just been a bit lackluster, and they need an opportunity to release some of the more mainstream character heavy hitters that really do move the needle in sales. So that's why they're looking at Gamerverse, the games, because they're able to mine, Marvel Snap because you get a Rogue. You're able to mine Marvel versus Capcom because you get Spider-Man and Punisher. I'm not saying this is truth that everyone wants these characters, but these are the ones that casual collectors, casual fans see and like, oh, I'll pick this up, or oh, this reminds me of blah, blah, blah. So that's why we're getting this initiative out there. That's what someone said. To what degree is that true on the back end? I personally don't know, but it makes sense to me that you would want to have these sort of A-list properties out and about. And again, I'm getting this. Really excited for this. Um, so, we what we have coming down the line is going to be New York Comic Con and a Christmas fan stream. So we are going to get some more reveals by the end of the year, which is great. And I'm sure they'll do random posts here and there. But the big question mark I had is, are we not doing a Pulse Con? Is Pulse Con not happening? Someone let me know in the comments. Did I miss the announcement for that? Or discussion again? Marvel Legends, we used to get just like 2 times out of the year, right? It used to just be Toy Fair and San Diego Comic Con. Perhaps something special at New York Comic Con. They'll do like an offsite. So 2, 3 times a year is when we would get information on Marvel Legends, and now it's like every week something new reveal. So it's kind of hard to like keep up with everything at pre-order dates. But I guess we're not doing PulseCon this year, which is that's kind of a shame. But I guess they're investing in actually having their own booth and presence at New York Comic Con, which in over the last few years they've sort of been an annex to like the Marvel booth, or they had like a little corner. So it looks like they're going to have a proper booth at New York Comic Con. So that's where they're putting their initiatives in lieu of a PulseCon. PulseCon is a byproduct of the lockdown pandemic era, which is where Marvel Legends, I think, really took off. I mean, all of a sudden, everyone was collecting Marvel Legends, and that was great because it was so wonderful to share that love and passion in a community. So I wouldn't veer too far off, is what I would say. They are doing these fan streams. This is also fan streams are also a product of the lockdown pandemic era. I would just say, remember that, like, I think Hasbro doesn't need to attach themselves to a convention anymore. They have a wide enough platform now that they can speak directly to us. And by the way, I don't know how feasible this is, but if they did PulseCon in person somewhere, in the great state of Rhode Island, I love Rhode Island very much, but if they would do like maybe a 2-day experience or a 1-day experience, I would go. I think they have the network for that. And again, it doesn't have to be over the top. It could just be Hasbro focused and with a few kind of like events happening with it. So I think they could get away with it. That's the advice I would give them. I forgot to mention, because I'm looking at the grenade for Punisher. Iceman does come with the snowball effect. Ooh, another accessory I can lose. No, it's the ice slide that we want. I'm happy that they have the snowball effect. Very happy, but it's the ice slide we want for Iceman. The tease was a bag, like suitcase that locks and gold. It's funny with comic book panels and hints like that. I can always like my mind works that way. Like if I see a comic book panel teasing something, I can immediately say it's this or that. But somehow with like Hasbro, they show these accessories. I'm like, what? I have no clue. I was looking at the comments on the live stream where they were like, Dora the Explorer, Indiana Jones. Hysterical. I mean, what a fun the community is so fun. But what do you think the tease is? I'm drawing a blank now. That's not to say later on when I'm doing my jog, I won't think of something, but as an immediate reaction that's trying to be authentic and not cheat and copy other people's homework. I'm kind of like a question mark on it, like gold, and I'm trying to think of like a video game where there was gold. That's sort of where I go, but and think of the rumor list we have out there. But yeah, what did you think of the live stream today? We're going on an hour discussing here. I'm sorry, Familia. That's like a lot. But I really I just want to say how grateful I am to Hasbro. And again, we get no sponsorship from Hasbro. This is just me being a fan from 2002. I never dreamt that we would get the figures we're getting today. And of course, there are things that are really great. There are things that can be improved upon. But I truly do believe that the team for Marvel Legends sits down and they really do think, what do the fans want? What is achievable with the technology? So again, back in 2002 with that poorly articulated Toad that was a chase figure and so much on the secondary market, would never dream that we were living in an era where the Punisher video game, we were going to get a two-pack with Nick Fury and Punisher. So it is kind of beautiful to see how far along the line has come. But Gladiator, Deathbird, Astonishing Beast, Iceman, Feral, Rachel Summers. What a great day to be an X fan. Those are great figures to have. So let us know your thoughts on this. Hit that subscribe button. It's so weird to say that. I know we're always supposed to be saying that. I just want to talk about this stuff. I'd rather you leave a comment than hit a subscribe button and leave an authentic comment about the figures, not about me, but about the figures, about the character selections. And if you want to, you can hit us up at Power of X-Men. That's sort of where we have our communication. We did hit a major Instagram milestone. I'm very grateful for that. We have great engagement over on the podcast, excuse me, the Instagram page. We also get great engagement on the podcast, and we are covering Morrison's new X-Men. We're going through that there. We're having such a fun time. Me and Flink, who is our co-host, we dissect every panel of Morrison's new X-Men, and we talk about Marvel Legends, and we do like a news section, and we sporadically bring on people from the X-Men community, and we do interviews with talent and creators, actors, blah, blah, blah. So please, if you want to engage with us on those end, please do that. But for YouTube, you're more than welcome to hit the subscribe button. But I think the comments is probably what I would prefer, just so we can have that two-way experience and keep it focused on the characters, not the goofy middle-aged man who is just excited we finally have Rachel Summers. Finally, Rachel Summers and complaining about, oh, Farrell should be hot. It's absurd. Hot pink. You can end the video here if you want, but can I tell you, it was so absurd talking to my agent slash boss for my auctions. And he's kind of like a Great Gatsby figure. I look up to him so much. I mean, if you Great Gatsby, Leonardo DiCaprio is sort of how he is. And to hear him talking to me about Power of X-Men, and he follows along, he listens. It's such a great support. I hope everyone has support like that in their life from their bosses. But having to talk about, some of the nuances of like what pisses me. He was asking me about Psylocke, and he's here like, so what is this about Paul, the windswept hair for Psylocke? Why does this irritate you so much 2 decades later? And I'm like, I have no response. No response to that. So, it's kind of great and it's kind of awesome, but it's never lost on me that this is a privilege to discuss these figures and these little nuances that have traumatized us. But Camelia, let us know your thoughts in the comments below, please. No comment is off limits. Just keep it focused. Don't let it come from a place of malice. Let it come from a place of love and thoughtful criticism or high praise. Just drop it there and we'll chat. All right, bye, guys.